I am in PreeVu software and I have selected my client, Patricia Jones, that you can see here. When I create my client, I'm able to add all of her information as well as adding each one of her kids, what year they were born and their birthday, so I can track a lot of those things. And then I'm able to take a lot of notes over here in the notes section, and the notes section is unending, so I can keep adding things as I go, and I always have that to go back to whenever it's time to, for another session or to communicate with the client again. I can go back and I can read through those things. My collections is where I'm going to build the different sessions that I'm going to do. But right now what I want to do is I want to go in and add a new home view. I've already added all of the snapshots that the client sent me, and I'll be showing you what I did with those. But I just want to show you how to add a new room view if you haven't gotten one in already. And so I'm just going to go and I'm going to find this client. And one of the main rooms that we're going to be designing for is this room. So I clicked on that. One of the things that my client measured, and as long as you have something measurable on the wall, it's going to be fine. You can take this ruler in PreeVu and measure. And I have got, she told me from the end of this to the end of this, it's 17 inches. So I'm just going to bring my ruler in and go over here where it's got real world size in inches. And I'm going to add 17 inches. And I'm just going to save that. And that's in there for me now here. And I've done that for each one of these walls. And as I go in and I work on designing for these walls, it's going to have those dimensions saved for me so that I'm building the exact sizes as they will see them on their walls. It saves those dimensions for me. So now I'm going to go into this client and choose their 2013 session. Here we are. And I can go to either the light tray or just see the images. I've already added the images now. We are actually moving backwards. I've done this consultation with the client, I've done the session with the client, and I've done the sale with the client. So I'm kind of moving backwards with you guys. So the images are in there, but I'm going to show you what I would do if I didn't have the images yet. And I'm going to be building for the client for their consultation call. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into our traditional framing section here. And I'm going to build a project. And what a project is just each individual framed or canvas piece that I'm going to be placing on my client's walls. And so on that wall that we just built, I've got the rest of them built, so I'm going to show you what that looks like and what that means a little later. And I'm going to say, I'm just going to guess at first for my first placement. And I'm going to go with about a 16 by 20 to start with. And so there's my 16 by 20. Then I can go in and choose a molding, and I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. That's where our thickest moldings are. And I'm going to pick this woody molding here that I've got. I've selected this for my client because of the different tones and the woods and the colors in her room, which you'll see there in a minute. But we can go through here and just play with different moldings and decide on what we want. But I just kind of eyeballing here, had decided I liked that. This was another option for me, but I decided that with the type of, not the type of client, but the type of session that we're doing is going to be a casual outdoor session, and I decided that this gold inset was a little bit too formal for what I wanted to do. So I went back to just the wood, and that is there. And then when I'm creating for a consultation call, I'm always going to go in and I'm going to pull just a blank image into that space. And what that does for me is it creates the pricing for that print that's going to go in there. If I didn't pull in that blank file, and you could make this a slight color so you know it's there, or you could add your logo to it. There's a lot of different ways that you could present that. But I always want to make sure that something is there so that when I scroll down over here and when I'm working with the client, I can look at my frame price, and you see that's not there when I don't want it to be. So when I'm just working with the client or I'm talking to them in an order appointment or on the consultation call, if I were to do a Skype screen share, they would see exactly what you guys are seeing right now. And so I don't want that to always be showing. I only want it when I want it to be, and that's what's great about this. I can just scroll over it, and as long as I have my mouse there, that's going to show up. If I pull away, it's gone. So this is telling me that my frame price is $324. PreeVu has already calculated for me on my markup that I want to do on each of the moldings, and it's got that right there. There's no figuring for me on the photographer end. So that frame price is there, And then it also is going to figure out a print price, which is $4.99 on my menu for this size of a 16 by 20. And then it's going to total it for me. Now, if I hadn't brought in that blank image, then it would just be calculating the frame cost, not the frame and the print. And so it makes it much easier for me as I'm talking to the client through the consultation call to be able to tell them the total price. So I'm going to save this, and in PreeVu I've got a couple options. I can just save this project and be done. I can save and make a new copy, which is what I'm going to do because I want to place several different images on the wall. And then I can save the project and close. And so that's kind of the same as this, except for with this I can start over. This is going to take me back out. I want to save and make a new copy. And whoops, I've got to review the framing options. This happens to me every time. I always forget. Your framing options are going to be your glass, all your different glass options. I am not typically glassing my portraits for my clients anymore. And so I'm just going to click verified that I don't need that there. And then I'm going to say save and new. And then what that's going to do is it's going to make me a new blank piece just like this. And I'm going to click save and new again, because what I'm going to put on this wall is going to be 3 different pieces. So now I'm going to go out. Yes, you're seeing your images. Normally, it's time for the consultation, and we're not going to see what the client has narrowed down to. We're only going to see, we're going to see that blank slide is all. And so I'm going to go now to the home viewer. And here we've got all of their rooms that I pulled in, including this last one. And on this wall, I'm going to now go to my projects, and I'm going to pull those projects that I just built, which are these 16 by 20 frames. I thought I left 3 of them there, but I only left 2, and that's okay. We'll go make another one. But that's what that is looking like on the wall. And one of the things that I wanted to create for the client was a little story. And the story would be, I'll just pull in this third one so you can see it. But the story would be a main image here in the middle of the family, everybody looking at us. And then I know with this family, I'm going to do a series of them walking away from the camera and then a series of them walking back to the camera. And that's what I'm going to suggest on either side of this. And what this does for me is if the client loves this, which she did, love the idea, I'm not only proposing the final sale, and this is what this is going to look like on your wall, and these are the exact right sizes for you, but I'm also planning the session with her. I'm now telling her, this is what we're shooting for. What do you think about this idea? And, we can decide right there whether that's something that she thinks is a great idea or something that she's just not really jiving with. And that's okay. This is the perfect time to make that, we can decide on that. And it's the perfect time to do it, not at the session and definitely not at the sales appointment. So this is a great time to plan. So I've got this wall built here. And I can come here and I can just save this home view. And what that's going to do is now I've got down here on the bottom my saved home views. And I'm just going to show you everything that I pre-built for this client. This is what she saw on her consultation call. She sent me a snapshot of each one of the girls' rooms. And so I planned wild sorbet framing, and we've got Delaney here in every single picture she had to be in of these snapshots. But this is for one girl's room. And then another wild sorbet grouping in another girl's room. And then a third wild sorbet grouping in Delaney's room. This is the little one that was standing in the other 2 girls' rooms. But here I'm showing her these groupings. And as I'm talking to her, and she says, wow, that looks great. What is that going to cost me? I can come here, and as a total group, I can scroll over this, and it's going to tell me exactly what this is going to cost. And so I can then say to her, this grouping with all 3 prints and all 3 frames is going to be a little over $1,000. And I never give them that exact price, even though I have it right in front of me, because I do want to have the leeway of going in and making changes. And so at this point, if mom said to me, I really love the idea of doing that, and I'm suggesting to her, move this wish over, move this dream over. We're going to plant these in the middle. We can move that D out of here and put it on a shelf or somewhere else. So I'm actually making those suggestions to her. And then, she might say to me, $1,000 is really more than I was thinking for this room. No problem. I'm going to go over here and save and copy this room. I want this original one saved, but I also want a new one to work with. So I'm going to save and copy. It's going to ask me some questions. Do I want to copy all of this? And I'm going to say yes. And what that's going to do is it's going to give me a second, and you can see over here on the left, now I've got 2 of these rooms to work with. So on this one, I can go ahead and make changes. And she says, I'm not really happy with that price. I'm not sure I really want to spend that much for my daughter's room. I can come in here and I can just get rid of those 2 smaller sizes. And then I can let her know, now we've taken that, we've sliced it in half. We've got you down to close to $500, just a little bit more. And so, just by going with that one frame. And so it really helps them to narrow things down and settle in on something that I still want them to do. I want them to design for their room, but maybe that first price wasn't okay for them. And that's okay. We can make those changes. And so I did design for each one of the girls' rooms, and I also designed for this space in the house. And here I don't have this wall straight on. I have it to the side, but she can still get the idea. And same thing, I can scroll down here, and because I've placed those blank pieces, those blank prints in there, I've got the total for the frames and the prints. And so this one, I'm actually going to round it up, and I'll tell her for all 3 of these prints and all 3 framed pieces, it's going to bring you close to $2,000. And so she can kind of see, right away what she's looking at, what the options are, and we can start narrowing down for exactly what we're shooting for. My client chose not to design for this wall, and that's okay. I pre-built this and I made a suggestion. I also made a suggestion for this other wall. And my philosophy is if she is sending me something, if she's sending me that snapshot, that means that she's considering hanging portraits there. So I'm going to design one thing for every single room that she's sending over. So this is another space in the house where I'm just showing her, simple 2 groupings. It's still going to get her close to $1,000 on that. And those are just, I believe we planned for 11 by 16 prints in there, maybe 16 by 20, I can't remember. But we've got those in there, and she ended up saying, maybe we'll go for that at another time. I love the idea of that. It's definitely a great space. But let's really concentrate on this downstairs. She loved the idea of doing the main family portrait and the walking away and walking to, and that's the one that we just built together. So again, if a client sees this and she feels like, my client is very symmetrical, so I knew that she would like this all the same size. But if you've got somebody that saw this and said, well, I'm not really sure I like the repetition, maybe we should make that middle one bigger. I'm going to do the same thing. I never want to lose what I've already created, so I'm going to save and copy. I'm going to say yes. And then on this one, we've got this already saved in another spot, but now I can go and make changes. And so she has told me these are 16 by 20s, which you see here when I clicked on the one. But because she wanted to see this bigger, I can go in and just click on it, and I can make a change, and I can make this a 20 by 24. And let's just scroll down and get to our 20 by 24 size. And there it is. I'm still thinking horizontal for this, so I'm going to just click it horizontal, and I'm going to save again. And now we've got 2 16 by 20s and a 20 by 24. So she can look at that. And, same thing, no matter what, it's just so easy to click on these and do something different. And so I'm going to save this one, and I'll just change one more for you. Let me just show you one other thing that we designed. I designed this room for one of the daughters, and this is the same thing. I can scroll down here and I can tell her what this is going to cost. This one is about, $1,600, a little over $1,600. And, that's going to be tough to swallow for just one daughter's bedroom. We've got 3 to decorate. And so she can tell me, that's a little bit more than I was planning on. I really love it, but, what could I see it without maybe the 2 larger frames? Let me just look at the 2 smaller. I can save and copy this, tell it, yes, that's what I want you to do. And then on this one, I'll just click the D key and I'll delete. Yes, I like 2 better. Now it's $638. And, maybe she says now, what, I like the way you had it designed before, and I haven't lost that home view. I still have it here. But I also can do something different here. Maybe I want to come back and I want to add, let's just go back to our projects. And let's add this back, and we decide that we want to do one horizontal here. or maybe even one big square. I mean, we could do anything. We can change the colors. We can just click on this, and it's going to take us back to our project builder. And we can go here and I can change the molding color. Let's pick the green on the outside instead. Let's make the trim pink and maybe a brighter pink. We can make any amount of changes. Maybe even we want to go horizontal with this. We can just flip it. And then I can say save and go back here, and there's our change right on the wall. So it's super easy. It's very easy to move everything around. I have tools here that are very similar to Photoshop. So I can just select these two, for example. It's going to select them both for me. And I can make sure that they're lined up. So I can go here and I can click and make sure that they are. And they were pretty good there. And then this one, you know, it's the same thing. We've got all those tools for left justify, right justify, center justify, and everything that you're used to seeing in Photoshop there for lining up those frames. And so we can show her something different. I can show her just this one on the wall. You know, PreeVu makes it so easy to change things up right in front of the client. You can do things very quickly. You can change colors, you can change size, you can change orientation, you know, everything that you need to do right away, quickly and in front of the client. And what I like to do is I like to make sure that I am doing all this and making all these changes before I ever photograph the session. Now we have done the session, we've done the sale. You saw a little bit of how I built for the consultation call, went through all of that, showed the clients the pricing and got through everything and really made some decisions on what we were shooting for. And now we're here, I've shown the client their images and this is what they've narrowed down to. So these were their favorites. And I just want to show you how simple and easy this is. I can come in and I can start a slideshow for this client when they first come in to see their images. A lot of times I personally choose to show them their slideshow in Animoto because I just like the idea of the Animoto slideshow and they purchase that a lot of times, but you don't have to do that. You can come in here and you can just push slideshow and have it go. And then as you come back through, you're going to start narrowing down and you can show images individually. And I'll just click on one to show you what that looks like. You can show them individually, and here we have a rating system. We've got 1 star, 2 star, or 3 stars. And for me, 3 stars is going to be the ones we love most. So I can show them individually and I can scroll through. Or what I like to do is, and the rest of this is all narrowed down. I just wanted to show you just, you know, one little grouping. But what I like to do is I like to show the images that are in the same sort of situation. And we've got these 3 here, and whether they're on your laptop or you're projecting them like I do, however you're showing your client your images, it's super easy to go in here and we've got them pulled up and I can just zoom on these and bring them, you know, in a little bit closer so they can really see everybody's expressions. And I love the capability of being able to do that so we can come in and we can really see what's going on. And my client ended up saying, well, I know I'm going to want one of Delaney hanging from the bar because that's what she does all the time. We find her hanging from everything. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this one. I'm going to ask her, well, is this one no? Are we throwing it out of the mix? Or is this a maybe? Is this something that you might want to use in an album or some multiple image piece that we might do? And she chose no. And so I'm just going to give that 1 star rating. And that's going to bring me back to the 2. I can zoom up again. And I know that Dad was kind of digging this for the Duck Dynasty sort of look. And so we like the serious look on the girls' faces. And Delaney, the little one, she doesn't need to be serious because she's little. So we got here, and this was the one that they chose that they loved. And so I'm going to give this one a no again. And then we're left with this one. This has got that 3 star rating. And so I'm going back, and what you're seeing here are all those that I gave the 3 stars to. If I go back here to the original filter, you can see that the little pop-up says show all. And so if I click on that, that's going to be everything they saw. We're going to have their no's here, and then we're going to have their yeses here, and we're going to have their maybes on the 2 star. So you're going to get to see now we've got these narrowed down. And so let's go into back into our home viewer where we already pre-built these rooms for our client. So now we get to have the fun of she's narrowed down to all the things that she loves, and so we can go back and we can fill in those spots. And I'm going to do 2 of these for you. These are our saved home views here. And one of them was her daughter's room, and she ended up wanting to take out these two middle ones. So we're gonna get rid of those. And I'll pull these together, make those look a little bit better. We're gonna line these up here. There we go, we're just a little off. Now I get to go and add the images to them, and I've already got them all narrowed down to their favorites. So I'm just gonna click on this one and come here to these images. And what we found is she's gonna want two horizontal images of her daughter. I had shown her vertical, no big deal. I can come in here, I can change it to horizontal, and I can pull in this one, and that looks great. And I zoomed in, I'm gonna zoom back out just a little bit, but we've got that one, and I'm gonna save that and go back, and then we're gonna grab our other one, and I'm gonna make that horizontal and grab the other image that she ended up choosing. And we're gonna make this one horizontal too. She wanted this cropped pretty similarly, and so that's gonna allow us to do that by just taking it horizontal instead of the vertical orientation that it was. And crop into there. And this is nice here that you can write in your frame, you can zoom in, you can zoom back out, super fast and easy. So there we have it, how I want it. I'm gonna save this again and close it and go back to our wall. And seeing them here together now, I want to go this way because I want her looking in on this side. And I'm actually going to take this even a little bit closer because this one is so close up. So I'm just going to click on it again. I'm going to zoom it in a little bit, and we can actually see how this is going to look finished, which is so fun. So I'm going to close that, and there we've got it a little closer to the crop that I want. I do know that I zoomed in once or twice on this one, so I can zoom back out a little bit if I need to, but that's going to be pretty close to how I want to see it finished. And so I can save this, and I can also add it all to my order. Once the client says, yep, that's it, that looks perfect, then I can just add it and move on. So now we're going to open up the other room that we're going to be designing for. And we did this for each one of the girls' rooms, but it's that quick and simple that we can go in and we can finalize everything, and they're seeing everything finished. So it makes it very easy to make those final decisions. And now we're going to pull this in, and what I had talked to the client about was doing a main image here in the middle. And so we're going to go and choose that main family portrait, and this was the favorite that they chose. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit, save that. There it is. And then we've got a walking to image that we want to place here. And they got that one narrowed down to, I got it narrowed down to a color and a black and white. And I can do either of those either way, obviously. But we're going to just work with this color image since that's what we've got here. I think in the end they actually chose this other one, and so I'll have to make that black or color in the end. But they did want color downstairs. So we're going to save that one. And there's that walking to. And now we're going to do the walking away here. And just add that. And let's see, walking away we actually did first. And they walk back towards us. So we've got there, and just that whole little storytelling series for the wall. And so that shows you just kind of how quick and easy that is. I am going to go ahead and line these up. We're going to center justify them, and then we're going to line them up for just spacing apart from each other. And you can see that one move just a little bit, but that way we can get them perfect and show them exactly what it's going to look like finished and on their wall and done. So I love being able to use this software and really designing for the client. It takes everything up to the next level, and it starts making a lot more sense when I've got this built. And if I was sitting with the client in my order room and I said, yeah, let's do these 3 pieces and these would look great on your wall together, you know, it's going to cost a little over $2,500. It does not make sense. You know, there's nobody in their right mind that's going to sit there and say, oh yeah, that sounds good, let's go for that. But when I can show them finished and on their wall and what it's going to look like and what they're going to be thinking about and how they're going to feel every time they see these and walk by these, what it's going to add to the room, what other people are going to feel like when they see these images, you know, then it all starts making sense. Then it starts becoming about home decor. And I will tell you that one of the things that I actually say to my clients, if somebody sees a grouping like this and they say, you know, we've really been thinking about this, and man, $2,600, that's really a lot to invest in that wall. One of the things that I'm just going to ask them right back is, think about the last greatest piece of furniture that you bought for your home. And they can stop and they can think about it. And I can say to them again, think about how much you invested in that and how much time and wear and tear and love you've gotten to enjoy out of that piece of furniture. And everyone pretty much can, they can relate to that. Even if it's somebody who doesn't have a big budget, they can think about the last thing that they invested in, maybe for some people it's a car, maybe it's for some people it's their actual home, whatever it is, but they can think about what they pushed their limit to, what they stretched for, and then how much they've enjoyed whatever it is that they stretched for. And so that's how I want them to relate to a grouping like this is, think about how much enjoyment you're going to get out of it over the years. And so we'll save this again and save that home view. And now we've got everything saved for us in the home views. I can go back here and see what we've created. I've now dropped the images into here and into here. When working with the client, of course, I'm going to go through each one of the rooms that we've selected and planned for and drop those images in. And it's very easy and it's very precise. And, it's the client has a very hard time backing out of those decisions when they've been pre-made and we've talked through them through the consultation call and through the session and through the call that I make before the order appointment. And then the order appointment itself comes and all we're doing is choosing those final images that are going to drop into those designs that we've already planned for.